Hey, welcome back to Herbie's Garage. Today we're going to be working on the 1997 Goldwing again. And I recently did a video on removing the rear wheel, and I showed how you lift all of this stuff out of the way, the bags and everything out of your way so you could get to the rear wheel. Well, I'm going to go show you the better method, I guess you would call it better, the book method of how to get to the rear wheel without raising it up like that. Because when you do raise it up like that, there is a couple of drawbacks to that. And I'm going to go over that and show that to you in this video. So anyway, let's get started on the correct procedure of getting to your rear wheel. Okay, the first thing we need to do is get this muffler down out of the way. We're not going to remove it all the way. We're just going to move it down a little bit. Let's see if it'll come out without a backer wrench. Oh yeah. Bolt and the nut. And then up here is the clamp. You can't really see it, but take my word for it. It's 2 bolts. Okay, after you take that clamp loose and take this bolt out, just do a little wiggling on this. And you just want to get it down far enough where you can get a socket in there to get to the nut on this side. Then we'll come to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, and we'll drop this one down. Okay, it should be enough to slide that axle out. That's all we need, is drop it down just enough to get the axle out of it. Okay, then on the back, on this saddlebag, this top box, we're going to remove this lower trim. And on this trim piece, there's 4 screws. I think mine only has 3. I think I've lost, or was missing, I should say, one of those screws whenever I did this the first time. That one's missing. I need to find another screw and put in that. They're not a very big screw. Okay, after you have those screws removed, and before we take this off, we're going to open these side panels. We're going to open the boxes on the sides up so it doesn't hit on it. And we'll lower our trim piece down. And it just snaps in there. I'll show you the little things it snaps in on. And then once you pull it down along the sides, you have to pull it back because it tucks in the front. Like that. And this has got a lip on it, so it's going to hit on these levers, so be careful of that. But this piece right here tucks in, and it kind of snaps in on these on both sides. Okay, now we're going to remove this panel, and we have to get this trim piece. We can either slide it or pull it off, either way. And there's one over here as well. A lot of times you can just push on them and slide them forward and leave them on there. And then it takes a Phillips screwdriver. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to find it. There we go. There's one. I got the other one loosened already. There's it. And then you just pop this off. This has a little tab you gotta be careful of, and it's also got a hole, and it goes onto a peg onto the side. You don't want to break anything, so you gotta pull this out and then away this way. Okay, once you get this piece off, down here is an electrical connection. You have to remove this plug. And just push this tab. And then this plug should come out like that. We need to do the same thing on the other side here. Take off the chrome pieces. There's the bolt. Okay, now just pull it out and then pull it this way to get it off of that peg. And then same thing, we got to unplug this like so. Okay, now we're working inside the left saddlebag. And up here on this rod is a plastic piece you have to unclip like that. And then you turn it down about 90 degrees or so. And then you have to slide this plastic piece off of the cable. And sometimes this is kind of a booger to get out. You just have to play with it until it comes. But eventually you get it, like that. You can see that the knob of that cable slides in the hole, and then the cable itself slides in and then over. So you have to line this up with the cable and then slide it out. Once you do that, you gotta take a pair of pliers of some sort and try to push that cable in, because it's got a little plastic connector. You'll see when you go do that if you can't see on mine. I've often wondered if you could just put a socket on this thing and push. I think it would work, but because when you do it this way, you're really only pushing on 2 instead of all of them. I think there's 3 or 4, and it doesn't want to go in very easily. There we go. And once you get the cable broke free, you just push it in. Okay, then we got 4 bolts. We got one here, one down here, one here, and one down here we have to take off. It's an 8mm. pull the bolts all the way out so they don't hang up on anything. Before you take your box off, you have to pull this side panel off. You can do this before or after, it doesn't matter. And now that you have your side panel off and all your bolts out, your cable out, just push that 2 and then we can pull this out like that. It comes free. Okay, now we're on the right side box, and I'm going to show you a little bit better on this one maybe. Here's the plastic piece up here, and it's snapped onto this rod. So you just take it and you push it down to get it off of that rod. You gotta be really careful not to break it because it is plastic. And then you line it up with your cable and just push it out. Like I was telling you on the other side. Like that. And then there's this cable lock. We just have to kind of push it and go around it and get it pushed in and pop it in. And then on this side, it also has the air hose that comes through. So we're going to take that, pop that off, and then we're going to shove this through. Now let's take this clip off too. Now we'll shove the hose through like that. Okay, now we'll pop this cover off. All right, so now we'll take the 4 screws out of this side. Like I say, be sure and take them all the way out because you don't want them hanging up on you. Okay, now that you have all the screws out, just shut this 2 like that, and then wiggle it out, like so. Okay, the last piece that we need to take out, last plastic piece, is this back tail piece. I already removed my license plate. It goes up here. Underneath the license plate, there's 2 bolts. Now on mine, for whatever reason, one is an 8mm, this one, and this one's a 10. But you have to take these 2 bolts out. And then that comes out. And then this just slides out like that. Okay, what you're left with is this bar that prevents the wheel from coming out. 2 10mm bolts, and it comes out. Okay, now you've got everything out of your way. So you're ready to unbolt your wheel and remove your axle and slide your wheel out. Pretty easy process, actually. Okay, now I'm going to show you the couple of issues that you may run into if you do the other method where you tilt the whole thing forward. This is the bolt that you remove whenever you tilt it forward. You have to go through your box where this hose goes through, and this is the bolt you grab a hold of. Now, what happens is this part here, when you take the bolt out, raises up as you raise those boxes up. But if you have the crash bar back here, this is where your problem comes in. You don't have this problem if you don't have this crash bar, and you don't have to worry about it. But if you have this, then you may have trouble getting this behind here whenever you go to put this in. If you don't have it, If you don't have this crash bar, you can put the bolt right in, not a problem at all. But if you do have it, to try to line these two things up, get this behind there and get the bolt in is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. I just want to make you aware of that if you do the other method. The other thing you're going to have to worry about is this piece right here. This piece right here pops into, you can see it coming in and out of that plastic. It's got pegs on this and holes in the plastic. Well, whenever you go to raise this up and pull it out, this part here is too rigid. Things are too tight on it, and it pops out of this holder. And whenever you pop it back down, this doesn't always go back in, and it is a booger to get it back in. Most of the time you have to take this bag off in order to get that pop back in the way it's supposed to be. So this method of taking all of the bags off may be the better method. Okay, I'm done with this. This is the correct method, really, the book method of getting to the rear wheel. And it actually is probably better, and it may even be easier. You don't have to worry about those two things I pointed out doing it this way. And it's not really that much longer. It may take an extra 10 minutes, maybe, to do it this way, but at least you know you did it right, and it's still going to work out well for you. So whichever method you choose, you could do it this way, you could do the box lift up way, you know, whatever works best for you is what works best. So that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to my channel if you would. Thank you very much. Have a good day.